Hello and welcome back to the Liverpool Groove. Said we were going to do it a bit different for the last one of the season. We tried this yesterday. This is take two, and it was an unmitigated disaster. We had dogs, we had pressure washers in the background, we had bees in shot, we had planes, we had helicopters. There might have been a volcano somewhere. There was everything, honestly.
We've currently got a crying dog.
Yeah. But at least today, all we will have is a crying dog a little bit, and the odd toy being thrown. So yeah. Anyway, as I said, little in-person one for something a bit different. Try and do a few more like this next season. But yeah, the season is over, and I don't think there's any single Liverpool fan out there who's not absolutely buzzing that it's over. I couldn't wait for it to end. I've just been showing you a video there of my mental breakdown, haven't I? So, yeah, made up with it being over. Need to just full reset, switch off from it a little bit, and go fresh next season, and hope that we turn up again like we know we can.
I've never wanted the season to be over as much as this one, ever. I don't think I've never been more excited for a season to end. It's just been one of the worst in terms of everything. Like, everything. The football all on display is unexplainable, and the lack of direction, and the lack of style and system, and the lack of the Liverpool way, and the lack of connection. Everything's just been shite. So seeing it end was fucking great. Would have been nice to end it with a win for the lads, but wasn't to be. Didn't deserve to win. We were fucking crap again.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully this summer has come at the right time. Wish they were in a World Cup. I'd love our players to have a proper rest, proper pre-season, and go again. Obviously they're getting work to the bone again. Most of them are in the World Cup. Not Frimpong. But most of them are in the World Cup, and they'll have a few, maybe a week or two's holidays, and then they'll come back into pre-season, hopefully ready to go, and we can start seeing a bit of positivity. But obviously we know there's a number of issues that we need to address. We'll obviously address what we think on here, but the hierarchy of the club have got a massive summer on their hands.
Yeah. Do you think, obviously you mentioned the World Cup coming up and that, do you think that's had an effect with some of the performances we've seen from players, like not wanting to miss the World Cup, not wanting to get any big injuries, that's going to hamper anything like that?
Possibly, lad. We all ourselves, we say Liverpool comes before England, and Liverpool will come before any national team for me, but other countries aren't like that. Their pride is wearing their nation shirt and playing for them, but based on performances, I don't think you could fucking pick any of our players to go for the national team. So I think the way they've performed, they haven't really got in their national team on merit. Some of them have got in there on name, and the ones that were on the fringes have literally not been included. So
yeah,
I think the players have let themselves down this season for a number of reasons. I think they've shit out the tackles, and they haven't been what we want to see. They haven't been the type of players you'd think could run through a brick wall or get hurt for the shirt. And maybe that is partly because of the World Cup, but I just think we've got too many shit houses in our team.
I think it's passengers in it. Like, there's a lot of passengers in that team currently, and it's a shame because a lot of them are the same ones from last season, and they weren't like that last season. Certainly in the first half of the season last year, anyway. But I don't know. There's been a mentality shift in them from somewhere, and like we're going to talk about Jota a little bit, but that's obviously been a big part of it. I think we're seeing and hearing more and more now how it has been a big effect on the morale and on the mindset and just the overall, I don't want to say attitude because I don't want to believe it's an attitude problem. I think it's something deeper than that, you know what I mean?
I think it's easy. I think it's easy to say, they should pick themselves up and go for Jota, but they haven't been able to. I think there's been moments where they have, and there's been moments like in the 20th minute. I think Frimpong scored right on the 20th minute at one point, and it's picked them up a little bit, but as the season's gone on, it's been draining, and they've struggled with it. But yeah, there's been a standards drop. I think all the players who set the standards, their mentality is shifted because how do you give a fuck about playing footy when you've lost your mate? So their standards have dropped. So the new lads that have come into the club, I've only seen these current standards, and the standards around the club at the minute are shite. Could be massively because of what's happened with Jota and the feeling around the club when the new players have come in, and that just became the norm. So yeah, you can blame that situation for a lot of it, but as the season's gone on, you would like to think your biggest leaders and your biggest players would try and get out of it and tell the players while they're fucking about and saying, this is not Liverpool, this is not the standards we set. It's happening like this because of Jota and because we can't shift it. But we need you to carry us a little bit. We need just like the likes of Frimpong just comes across as like a United player, doesn't he? Just dancing around and having fun. And that's boss to see when you're winning games. And it's a bit fickle from us because when you're seeing the lads having a laugh and playing basketball and training and jumping over hurdles, you're like, oh, it's fucking boss seeing them smiling and having a laugh because we've been shite this season. They're the little things that have done our head in.
Yeah.
And I do predominantly think it's down to Jota's passing, the effect it's had on the players, and the standard of shit because of it.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think I think the writing was on the wall for the season from the get-go, because I think every game we had, even in that little run at the start where we won our like first, I think it was 7 in all competitions, even in them games we never really looked good. You know, we threw a 2-goal lead away against Bournemouth on the first day, threw a 2-goal lead away against 10-man Newcastle the next game. So the signs were there. I think the only game in that little spell where you can say we played all right was the Arsenal one, and that's only because we kept a clean sheet, but it still took us until the 85th minute, whatever it was, to get the goal. So we could all sense that it was sort of coming. I think we even spoke about it at the start of the season, like how long does that sort of look run for, and it was just before the Palace game when we lost that we said it. And so yeah, we all said collectively at the start of the season to write the season off. And I think one thing that I was thinking about it was more the fact that I don't expect us to go and necessarily win the league because of what's happened, but let's be there or thereabouts come the end of the season, go far in the Champions League. And I think we done all right in the Champions League in the end in terms of where we got to. The performances were like very hit and miss in the Champions League. You look at the PSV game, the Galatasaray, both away games that we had with them, the performances were shocking. We did have some alright performances there. So I suppose you can't really knock them for that, but like the way we went out of the FA Cup with no fight at all against City, the Palace game at home in the League Cup, we just pretty much threw it away because we put an entirety of kids out and players that haven't played for the club for 2-3 years. It was just the mentality there going into that game, I think from Slot in that case was wrong. But I just think it's been a season like no other. Nobody's really known how to navigate the season, Slot included. And you know, we all loved him last season when he was coming out with all his little quips and how he was having that bit of banter with the media and stuff like that. And it's like what you say about the training, like when you're winning, you love it and you think, oh yeah, this is boss, he's just saying what he thinks. But now when he's saying what he thinks and we're losing, it's going down like a lead balloon.
Wrong, it is. You can't do right or wrong, can he? Right for doing wrong. He's struggling in the media. Everything he's saying is getting spun to make him look bad. When he does talk, he sometimes just says things that make him look bad. I wish he'd just fuck the media off. But yeah, with the whole like, Jota situation and how you've seen us just decreasing ability and quality of play and like energy. We haven't been in Liverpool, we know. I know we changed the system in that last season and tweaked it, and we were a lot more in control and we didn't run as much as other teams. We didn't really play the Klopp way, but he tweaked a few of Klopp's things to maybe make them a little bit better, so we were a bit more in control and we were able to see games out. Games that we probably would have been going gung-ho in, would have tired and maybe conceded. So last season, he walked on water, didn't he? We were made up. You know, it wasn't the best footy, but we were getting results. We won the league title, so for that, we're always grateful. This season, he's been dealt a hand where you've lost a player, a current player, a player who's been pivotal to the season before. You know, a player who, if you bring him on off the bench for half an hour, you know he's going to make an impact. A player who's massive in the dressing room and every single other player loves him. You lose that. You lose then the interest of your own team. They don't want to play football. They're not motivated by playing football or money or whatever. They're just heartbroken and they're gutted. And we can't put a time scale. We all mourn things differently. Some people take a year off when they have a loss. Some people go straight back into work. It's hard to manage. And when your team consists of you've all lost the same person, and you've got to manage every one of them. They want different things, and they'll deal with things differently. Do you put an arm around one, or do you tell them to crack on? It's hard for a manager,
Yeah.
really hard. Impossible. It's impossible. And I think Klopp's quoted saying it's impossible to manage it, and he wouldn't know what to do. So, I think what's coming out is the players have practically said, we didn't want to train. We didn't want the high intensity running and to the point where we're sick. They already felt sick. They didn't want to be in training. I think he's effectively given them a ball and went, do what you want, lads, for a couple of weeks. And that has hindered us in pre-season. That's made us not fit enough. We've seen injuries. We've seen lads tire. We've seen us have nothing left. There's a few players we've picked out. And I think on our first recording yesterday, I said to you, in hindsight, and the dust has settled and we see the injuries we've had and the tragedy with Jota and, how Arsenal have performed and they've battered it. I just think it's been a really tough season for a number of reasons, and not using Jota as a whole excuse, but it's a massive problem that we've had and we couldn't get over. And I think if we have that season, the season before, and then we win the league this year, you just write the season off and you go, it was a transitional period. We've had a nightmare. We've lost a player. The players have sort of not got over it, but recovered a bit more. The fighting, the going for it this season, they win the league. You go, right, well done, fucking fair play of coming out of that on top. We won the league the season before. Now we're having our transitional period. Now we've suffered a tragedy. We've got to try and get through it together. We've got to try and take the circumstances and give a little bit of grace and say, you know what, no other manager other than Jota's brother's manager has had to deal with the same thing.
Yeah.
There's only a few in world football that have lost current players, and I imagine it's had the same effect on them. So, got to give a little bit of grace. In hindsight, you've got to just, sort of dust it off and go, it's been a nightmare of a season for a load of reasons. And as you say, we ripped the season off. You're saying you ripped the season off and still wants to contend. I wrote the season off as in, if we finish 10th, I can't have a go at these lads. But football's dead reactionary.
That's
we go into the game. Sorry, we go into the season. You win a few games. You've got your eye on the league title straight away.
Yeah.
You've brought all these new players in. You're bringing in Isak, one of the best strikers in the world. You're bringing in Vert. You're getting excited as fans. Other than on a match day, you sort of, and I'll be honest, you forget Jota. Football's moved on. You've got new players, and then the 20th minute comes in the ground, and that's when you remember him. You're walking past the memorial and you remember him, and it's heartbreaking. But there's still games of footy to be won, and when the season starts and the dust has settled, in our heads we're just very much like, right, we go now, we win, we've got to win at all costs, and if they don't, as we've seen, we booed them. But in hindsight, you feel terrible.
Yeah.
The way we've reacted as fans this season on what they've been through, I've calmed down, and I think, wow, we as fans, Jordan, the Jota situation, being there for the players, being there for Jota's family as a collective group of supporters, and the memorial he had, we were exceptional. But we should have carried that on through the season. We should have given these players a little bit more breathing space and a little bit more grace and a bit more of a pat on the back at times when they were down. But again, it's not an excuse for them down in tools at times, because City away, when we walked out, it weren't because of Jota. That was because they had nothing left and they give up in the system. They packed in. They didn't think they could beat Man City, and they showed it.
Yeah.
And to say it all intertwines with itself. But the big thing for me is the dust has settled. There's big picture, and we've been poor on so day.
Yeah, I think it's difficult, isn't it? Because we can all say in the best intentions that we need to write this season off, but then, like you say, you have them first 5 league games and you win them all, and you're thinking, right, okay, this isn't affecting them as much as we think, and then your expectations change from that when you start the season that well, result-wise at least anyway, and then you look at it and you think these are like elite athletes, these are the highest level of professionalism, the highest level of competitiveness, like they're all meant to be mentality monsters. These want to win every single game, and I think that's the issue. Is we've seen it very clear that there's been games where they haven't looked like they wanted to win. And City away is a big example of that, but it's not the only one. I think there's been a few, but like you say, in hindsight, I think we have probably been a bit too harsh on them. As I say, doesn't excuse some of the performances. I think some of them rightly got called out, but I think there's like other ones where, you know, maybe it wasn't as bad as we're making out and things like that, and it's more, you know, Slot's got a lot of stick, and I'm still in the Slot out camp just about, but I'm not gonna waste my energy on like hating him and that, because it's not worth it, because he's gonna stay for the foreseeable at this point in time. There's no point wasting your energy on hating the man. He's staying. Get behind him, get behind the team, let's fucking push on for this season. And yet, look, if we get to like December or something and it's still nothing's changed, shut up. Then yeah, fair enough. But it's hard. But like you say, there has been moments where we've down tools, and that isn't acceptable no matter what the circumstance.
And again, I think it goes down to like leadership, and I think players have just been drained. We've seen Van Dijk's played every minute of every game, at pushing 35, and Arne Slot said himself, like, if we had players, we didn't have the injuries we had and stuff, then he wouldn't have played that many games. He'd have managed him well better. And I think as captain of the club, him and Salah have carried the Jota situation on their shoulders and they probably tried to give us a better season, and when it's not happening, they're probably taking that home with them. And it's mentally, we say the mentality monsters. The mentality monsters is in the sense of walking into an arena and not letting opposition fans like fucking affect them or affect the brains and affect the game. Not mentality monster in the sense that they're fucking one of the best mates dies, and they can just plod on. Some of them are on 400 grand a week. That doesn't bring Jota back. It doesn't make the fucking memories of Jota just disappear, so they can be brutal and cold and just play footy. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't matter what wage you're on. Fucking rich people more, unfortunately. It happens. But there has been times where we've just been like the likes of the leadership. Van Dijk against Man City, playing brilliant, away fans in full flow. We're right behind them. Captain gives a fucking daft penalty away. The captain then, for me, should stand in front of his team and go, that's on me, that we're playing well. He's got a penalty. Fucking once it goes in, or once it's out of play, whatever, we go again. We play the exact same. There was nothing, just arms in the air, head gone, total head loss. It bled onto the other players, and our heads had gone. So the leadership's been poor, but again, I can understand it to a point where none of them are really that interested in being there, and we didn't know how long it was going to go on. And it's gone right through. You seen Van Dijk at the end of the season, just sat there on his own, and his kids have sort of gauged it and ran over and given him a hug, and he's down in the dumps. Mo's been down in the dumps, Robbo's been down in the dumps. All the new players have come in thinking, fucking hell, we've won the lottery, we're coming to play for Liverpool, and they've come into one of the hardest situations ever, where there's clicks, where players are getting probably, I've seen a quote at that. I think Robbo said there was clicks, and that there was basically a mix of old players and new players, and the old players want to be together and reminisce and stuff. The new players wants to come in and make fucking new memories and be pottering around and dancing around and having a laugh, but the key players weren't into it. And you know, can you imagine being sat there pissed off as you could be, the season not going well, we're playing shite, we're making mistakes, you're still in mourning, and you've got Frimpong dancing around and doing TikToks and dancing and that, you know, you'd want to kill him, and it's not his fault.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is when you're not in the mood for something like that, and unfortunately that's what we've been at. But again, this is absolutely no excuse for some of the performances. It's no excuse for us to have no system, no identity, no fucking Liverpool DNA anymore, for us to not press as much as we should, for us to not shoot on sight, for us to not be able to mark a man, for us not to be able to fucking stay on side or keep them offside, for not being able to tackle, for shitting out of 50-50s. It's not an excuse for any of that, and all our players are guilty for that. So when we talk about Slot, there's got to be people out there who can see that as well, that he hasn't told a single player, listen lad, if there's a 50-50, jump out of it. Listen lad, if yours 3-1 goal, don't shoot. Listen lad, don't pass the ball forward, don't cross the ball into the box to your striker who needs the fucking ball to score goals. Don't be doing none of that. He's not doing that, is he?
No.
He is not doing that. He is setting them up to play and they're playing, and then when they're going a goal up, we're going to get a parcel here. When we go a goal up, it's just fucking, we fall apart.
Yeah, you're right. We do. We've, as I say, we've seen it all season. That one little bit of adversity and the game plan that you couldn't really see beforehand anyway. But the game plan really goes out the window once we concede. And like you say, you know, I think Van Dijk has been culpable of a lot this season. I think he's the standard bearer in the team. He's the one that you look to, like you say, to know how we're going to sort of do in the game. And as soon as he starts throwing his hands up and blaming other people for, you know, and that's what's annoyed me with him this season, is he's been throwing his hands up for things that have been his fault and blaming someone else. And it's like, that's not what a captain does. Even if it is someone else's fault, don't throw your hands up and throw a hissy fit. Go over and say, look, all right, yeah, Sam, you've messed up. Just get your back in the game and let's crack on. And I don't think he does that enough. I don't think he's ever really done that enough. I think when Hendo left and we were talking about a new captain, and obviously Van Dijk was the one everyone was talking about, I think a lot of people were saying that it should have been someone like Robbo, who's going to be more vocal and tell the players a bit more of that Henderson type character. And I just think, yeah, I don't know, Van Dijk, he's not that type of captain. I don't think he's not the one to pick the players up as much when the Reds are dropping, because his drops as well.
Yeah, well, we said that when it was like up in the air, he was going to be the next captain, and we both said Robbo, didn't we? I think at the time we said Robbo or Trent, but again, I don't think Trent would have been a leader.
No.
That's nothing to do with him leaving. I just don't think he was, like on like, he's not very vocal. He'd have showed us, he'd have done it like Gerrard with his ability more than anything. But he wasn't winning us football matches on his own sort of thing. So Van Dijk's been a brilliant captain in stature and how he comes across, but there is times where you need him to do a bit more, and I think the Jota situation's got on his shoulders where he started to do maybe too much behind the scenes and it's affected him. So, but again, performances, you need him to own it and go, that was me, that, and he hasn't done that. So there's a number of issues throughout the whole team. Obviously we're going to rate the players and that later, but I don't think anyone stands out this season as doing anything good.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two might get a little bit of applauded, but there's no one else.
No. Want to move on to the last day. Obviously, didn't get the result that we wanted, as you mentioned before, but it was obviously the last game for Salah and Robertson. There's been talk online about how the sort of day went for them. I think bringing them off individually, I thought was a great touch from Slot. I've got to give him credit there, letting them get the full plaudits to the whole Anfield crowd, and like the opposition players and the fans, I think, were dead respectful to them as well, in fairness. I thought that was a great touch. People have been a bit upset that like they didn't get on the mic and give a speech or anything like that. I think I've seen a few people mention like that they just got given like the Champions Wall picture kind of thing, which I think most of them get that anyway when they go, but I think people wanted something a bit more personalised getting given to them, which I mean I get it to an extent, but then they got personalised stuff in training with the mates, like a bit more, well, personal. I just think people, I don't know what people expected from it. I think people expected Slot to get on the mic and talk about the season, but like no manager gets on the mic at the end of the season when they're going into the next one to just say, sorry, like if he'd have just gone, yeah, sorry, we were shit, see you next season, like everyone would have gone, is that it? Like it was a no-win situation for Slot, and I think the way he's handled it, really, I don't think, for me personally, I think he's handled it the right way. He's let Robbo and Salah have the limelight. He hasn't made it about himself for all. The media's tried to make it about him by fucking keeping the camera on him all the time. But him himself, I think he's just thought, there's no way I come out of this looking good no matter what I do. I could get on the mic and I could praise them, or I can sit here and just let them have the spotlight and let them have the adulation of the crowd that they deserve and leave it at that. I've already said what I want to say to them in person, in training. I don't need to say any more than that, is how I'm thinking that he's thought about it.
there's been a big media frenzy, so there was everything they would have said on the mic, they've said, it's out there for everyone to see, it's on YouTube, it's on all the channels across fucking all sport, it's on the LFC TV, it's on everything, so they've done interviews, they've done personal interviews, you've seen Salah with Gerrard, you've seen Robbo with Dalglish, you've seen him talk to the club, they've said the goodbyes. Like, what else do we want from them? I don't think they're the type of players who want to go on the mic in front of 60,000 people. I think they wanted to embrace the crowd and get the crowd give to them, not them give back to the crowd. I think they don't want to be fucking DJing in front of the cop. They want to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fucking, they want to be able to stand there and take it all in and listen to the cop singing for them and listen to the cop singing Never Walk Alone, and that being all that's on the mind. They're not having to think about what's the right and wrong thing to say. There's no need for it. There was no need for it at all. It's happened to maybe 2 or 3 players now in history and one manager. The one was one of the best managers to ever manage the club, and he was literally leaving the club, and Gerrard and Carragher said a few words because the local lads, and they've been at the club for all their life. So that's the difference. He wasn't hanging around waiting for Robbo and Salah to tell us what they thought of us. We wanted to tell them what we thought of them, and that's what it was all about. Us giving them the farewell that they deserve. Slot couldn't win. Absolutely couldn't win. I had people messaging me saying how much of a cunt Slot is for putting taking other players off at the same time as Salah and at the same time as Robbo, and that was a little dig at them. Like, no, there's still a game going on, lad, and a game that we ideally want to win. So, you know, we've got to make the changes, but we've got to make the fact that he split Salah and Robbo up and let them get the guard of honour. And you've got a guard of honour leaving the pitch, which was lovely, but again, there's still a match going on. So I do agree with what I see on like match today, and that's saying it's mad to it at the end of the game. But I'm glad our players done it. Thought it was brilliant. They've got the thing in training off the club, the personalised plaque with the numbers on and all the pictures of them and that. They've had, you know, conversations with the manager. The manager's praised them and stuff like that. They've had little interviews where the mates, the ex-players have got round them, the players they play with got round and said little pieces on what they think of them. Like, what more do we want? Arnie Slots brought them off separately, give them the ovation, left them to do what they do, let them to embrace the crowd, let them go to the crowd and just be them two in the cop. It looked weirder because some of our players joined them. And I think the season we've had, and again I say this and it might sound a bit nasty, but them players didn't really have a right to come out and get a clap off the pitch. They should have went down the tunnel and let Salah and Robbo have the limelight, and then if they felt like they deserved to do a lap of honour, go and do it. The same with the manager. The manager has probably not felt like he deserved. It's not a lap of honour. It's in them not acknowledging us for our support. So maybe in looking at it that way, should he have? There was a part where he stood in a group of them on the halfway line, more towards Jenny Road, and he clapped all around. He stood in the same place, but he clapped all around. So he's given us his applause, witnessed it. I think I've got it on video. And yeah, I think he's left the players to their own device. He's let them. It was the weirdest thing for me was when Salah and Robbo were going to the cop. You've got Curtis Jones doing keep-ups and huffing and puffing. You've got Gomez and Van Dijk separate. You've got some of the players have joined them a little bit, but stayed behind them. And then you've got a team that resembled the Wongs out of the Wanderers, just in all black, just stood in rows, all the staff, just away from the players. I thought that was a bit strange. And yeah, people want Arnie Slot to get on the mic and, yeah, sorry about the season, it's been shite. You might have got booed, we weren't worth it. Weren't worth to bring or risk bringing any negativity towards that day. The only thing I would have liked to have seen him when he slumped down into his chair and the fans are singing every little thing's going to be alright. I'd have liked to see that pick him up a little bit and him get a little bit more involved after that, because that was a message, that were a message to Salah and Robbo. That was a message to everyone at the club, that we're here, we're behind you, regardless, through thick, through thin, we are here with you. And that was to the manager as well for me. When I sung it to Arnie Slot as well. He's going to be here next season, by the looks of it. And if he is, I'm not going into any game negative because we were crap last season. I'm going into every game with my full heart, going, let's get behind these lads. let's get a disaster season behind us and let's go and fucking win games. But I would have liked to see him join in at that point and go, they're with me and I'm with you, let's do it. But wasn't to be. It's happened. We've made him feel the need to sit in the dugout on his own, and for that I'm sorry to him, because I feel terrible that we've got a Premier League winning manager has felt that force of our fans that he wasn't able to be included in that.
Yeah.
But as I say, the fans, I've done it all this season nearly, and we have give up a little bit. And in hindsight, with the Jota situation and everything that went on in the summer, I feel bad that we've down tools as well, and we haven't been behind them as much. But because of the performances and because of the way the players have packed in and the shitty system from the manager, I don't think any of them deserved an applause. But it was just let's get this season over, let's go again.
Yeah.
And that's what it is for me. Last season is gone. After today, I won't talk about it again. We'll forget about it and we'll get behind them and we'll go again, hopefully. We need a busy summer.
Definitely. I think you can't blame Slot for feeling like that either, because, you know, the day before there was a fucking banner outside the access saying Slot out. No doubt it's been some fucking wool put it up or something.
Hashtag Slot out.
Yeah,
hashtag. It's an absolute non-match going fucking turbo wool.
Yeah, but
he
obviously...
would have got strangled with it if he'd tried to get in the ground, and that's the difference.
Yeah. But when, you know, if you're Arnie Slot and you're coming out of the accident, you're seeing that, you're just thinking, well, even if you had planned on doing something on the last day, you're just thinking, like, yeah, nah, I'm just not gonna risk it. But I thought it was a great touch by the crowd to start with the, you know, every little thing's going to be alright. I thought that was a great touch, because it hasn't been a season that we want to remember for any reason whatsoever, and that was just, I don't know, that was the acknowledgement that, right, look, this season's done, it's behind us, move forward, get on with it now. And that, I think that was what we needed. And I think that just, like, I was pissed off at the end of the game, and then I heard them singing that, and I was looking at all the stuff with Salah and Robbo, and it just, I was over it as soon as it was over, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, right, yeah, fine, look, it's done. Been shit. Let's go next season.
Something just shifted, didn't it? And it was like, I heard that and it got a bit emotional. It was like, we sang that, we sang Never Walk Alone to the players, we sang Jota's song, and it was like, it was the end of an era, it was the end of a disaster season. It was hopefully, you know, a shift in sort of a little bit of getting over the Jota situation a little bit more. We know we've got a pre-season, we know we've got a few months, we've got a new few players coming in. Maybe we can be a bit stronger next season mentally and be a bit stronger. And it was just a shift of all of that, and it was like, we are singing Don't Worry About a Thing, because we know we're Liverpool, we're going to be alright. Whoever's in the dugout, whoever's on the pitch, we'll come again. But if you're here and use the lads who are here, we're behind us. So it was emotional, it was fucking boss. I enjoyed it. And yeah, just what will be, but I'm grateful the season's over. And
yeah, definitely.
I know there's a load of issues going on at the minute, and we don't know what's going on with transfers and stuff like that, but as I say, I think whatever player comes or goes, as long as we find a system that suits us and we play a football way that entertains us and we can be proud of it in Liverpool, then happy days.
Yeah, I agree. Before we move on to the player ratings, because we'll get into that in a minute, two very quick ones. Konate leaving. I think, I don't think we'll miss him as much as others will. I think where we're messing up is, you know, if he had a couple of years left on it, if we give him a new contract and he's got a couple of years left and we want to get rid, that's a £60 million player. In today's market, you're getting 50-60 million for him easy, and I think from a business standpoint, I think allowing an asset like that to just go for free is poor. But I just think, I think I'm more bothered that it leaves us even shorter already, because I think we need a centre half if Konate stays. I think we're ongoing. I think we need two, and that's my only issue with
it. I'll disagree with some of that. I've put a post out on social media comparing him to Sakho. Some idiots.
You have done in the past as well. I just want to preface that.
For 4 years, because he's a liability. He looks like a boss lad. He looks like a brilliant lad, boss joker amongst the pack. He can't concentrate for 90 minutes, When he's good, he's very good. When he's bad, he's absolutely fucking tight as bramble. He's shambles, shambolic, terrible. Like we've had centre-halves like Dejan Lovren and players like that who we're nervous wrecks about. He's better than Konate. He's done more for us than Konate. I honestly believe it. But it's not because of any of that. It's because he's a liability. He doesn't know where to stand. He doesn't know where to position himself. He doesn't know whether to come or go or fucking defend. He doesn't know whether to go towards the ball or stand off. He can't keep players offside. He's like a bull in a china shop. He's terribly he's terrible defensively. And when the ball goes back to him, I don't trust him. So in terms of that, are you offering him 300 grand a week just because it's easier to give someone who's already there a contract than it is to replace him? Because I think there's a number of centre-halves out there who are better than Konate. I think there's loads. I think there's some in the Premier League that are better than Konate. Like, not physically maybe, but intelligently. I think there's some with a better football like you who read the game a lot better and don't need to be babysat. I think when he's not with Van Dijk, his head falls off. I think we've had moments where he's been injured and we've played Endo or Gravenberch and we've looked solid, we've looked stronger, we look better when he's not on the pitch. And I know he's had personal issues with his dad, but that went 3 years ago. He's been doing it for 3-4 years. He's been a liability and a standby. When he's good, he's very good. You're saying he might go for 60 mil. No one's paying 60 mil for Konate. No one. If he's going on a free, you will get people clubs pondering around him because he's a good asset to have for free, because he's still young, because he can improve, and he might be worth a few quid in the future, but at this current moment he's not worth it. Real Madrid walked away from him because he was crap. He's not worth the money. He's not worth 300 grand a week. He's not worth arguing over bonuses. I think he's an absolutely brilliant lad. When you see videos of him with the lads and in the dressing room, I think he comes across an absolute brilliant lad, a diamond. You'd love to go for a pint with him and have a laugh. But as a footballer, he switches off too much. He's dangerous to us. I think he causes more harm than he does good. And I don't see how anyone can defend him in that sense of saying we need to keep him. And it's a tragedy that he's going, and it's a disaster, terrible from the club. If you've got a leak on your roof and you're gonna patch that bit of your ceiling up every month, or pay 20 grand for a new roof, you're either doing something and patching it up for a long period of the time and it's not helping you, or you go out and you get something better instantly. That's what we need to do. We need to not fix the leaking roof, not try and hope that he can improve eventually. We need to get rid of him and go and buy a better centre-half, and if it costs us 50 mil, cost us 50 mil, but there are centre-halves out there that will give more to Liverpool than Konate.
No.
That's my opinion. I don't hate the lad. I just think he's terrible at football, and I don't like watching him.
Yeah, no, you've been consistent with that for years, so I can't argue with you on certain things you've said there. I think, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if he's on the phone to his agent before his contract actually does end and go, look, just fucking forget about the bonuses. They'd agreed the length, they'd agreed the wage. It was just on bonuses. I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if he gets on the phone to his agent and go, look, tell them to just fucking forget about the bonuses. Let me sign.
I just personally, I think, like, and do you know what? If Konate stays and it's as a squad player and we offer him 250 grand a week and he does, I'm not asked about what we're offering him. We can't set the standard as players like Konate getting 300 grand a week because he's not good enough. And we've done it with Gakpo and we've done it with Gravenberch, and they're not players I think are worth that money. I think you can spend your money on better players, but they've been massively important to us last season, and they've been brilliant last season. Konate was still Konate. He had some really good games, but he's not colossal. He's not going to win your games. He's not going to defend with all his life to get you over the line. He's got to make mistakes in that game, and he's going to kill you. So once you start going, oh, well, he's on 350 grand a week and he's on 300, then your standards drop, and that's what Man United have done. And I don't want to become Man United. I don't want to be giving players like that the big, massive... Mo Salah's on 400 grand a week. How can Konate be on 300?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So it's not my money. I couldn't give a fuck where our money goes, really, as long as we've got good players. But I think you could go and get a 22-year-old for 30 mil and offer him 80 grand a week, 100 grand a week, and you might get a better player out of him. Someone who's going to stay switched on. And I think we've bought players already. Got Leone, got the lad from France from last season. We've been out and bought. I think if Canate goes, we need to go and buy another one on the basis Gomez stays.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't think he's good enough for Liverpool, and I think that's our problem. We've been bullied into either giving big contracts up, or we've lost players on a free, and that's the poor point from a business point of view, is that we're losing another starting player on a free. But in my personal opinion, I don't think he should be starting for Liverpool anyway. And if you take the £350,000 a week hit, which is what, 1.2 mil a month, so it's like 13 mil, 14 mil a year, or do you go out and, for the length of his contract, you go and spend that on a good centre half who can play footy and can defend? That's what I'd be doing, and I hope that's what we do. The big problem lies with Liverpool is that we might go, we're all right at centre half here, and not get anyone. So that's where the worry lies for me. But yeah, I'm happy he's going.
Yeah, no, that's fair. As I say, you've been consistent with that for years, really. So yeah, can't argue. The only other quick one I wanted to just talk about, we talked about Jota a bit. You mentioned the song. You've heard stuff from Robbo, from Bradley. There's probably a few others out there about the song and how it affects them on a every game basis. I think now is the time we need to stop singing it. I think it's been a great tribute to him this season, and I think it's right that it has continued for this season. But I think moving forward, it's got to be like on his birthday. We probably won't ever have a game on the anniversary of his passing, but if we do it then. If we play Wolves, if we play like Porto, Atletico Madrid, anyone else he's played for, do it with them games. But I think it needs to stop being an every game situation now.
Totally agree, lads. I think you've seen Robbo and Bradley saying how it affects them, and it's not in a positive way. In some senses, I think we think, if we sing the song, it'll spike them up and they'll pick up a little bit. And I don't think they do. I think they looked at the sidelines thinking Jota's coming on, and I think they forget for a second, because I know it does happen. Anyone who's been suffered a loss, you just forget that they're gone. And little songs and situations like that remind you, and they can bring it all back. So we're reminding them players every single game on the 20th minute that the mate's dead and that he's not here. And we're not doing it with any malice, we're doing it to be nice and to remember Diogo, but I do think it's torture for them. And I think like the first part of the season when we done it, we could see the performance levels drop. We could see it start to drop when we done it, and players were becoming like a shadow of themselves during that game. So yeah, I think it's time to, we've got the memorial outside the stadium. I think a memorial inside the training ground. I think, having his shirt in the dressing room, I think that needs to be pulled. I think having his place in the changes and the access arena, whatever you want to call it, I think that needs to be gone, because that is torturing. We don't put empty, don't leave a place at your table every single night for people who have lost you. You do it at Christmas and occasions and stuff, and that's for such a body. But anyone who's suffered loss, if you get reminded of it every single day, imagine going into work, lad, and someone singing your ma's fucking funeral song at you or something every day at the same time. You'd stop going to work, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You'd zone out. So I just think, we need to be mindful of the negative effect it's having on them. And I think, if the fan groups wants to release a statement and say, listen, we will honour and remember Diogo. There will be scarves in the ground with his name on. There'll be shirts with his name on every week. He will not be absent from Anfield at any point, because there'll always be someone in there with something of Diogo on. But for the sake of the players, the sake of the manager, for the sake of ourselves, I think it's time to let the song go. If you want to pay tribute to him, go and throw a rose at the memorial every day, every game. Not at it, by the way. Go and throw a rose on the memorial and get your scarf and go and have a little minute, like we do at the Ellsworth Memorial. Every 15th of April, I pop down there at 3 3 and I remember, and I just take it all in, and you have that emotional connection with it where you just remember. And I think that's what we need to do. I think on his anniversary and on his birthdays and stuff, maybe the song does come out, but I think for everyone's sake now we need to let it go, and I think even for his family, if his family are at the ground, I think it could hurt them as well. So they can go around the memorial themselves. They can see what it means to us in the stands, because he'll still be there. Be Portugal flags every week, and yeah, let it go. I think.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, look, let's get on to the player ratings then. So just we'll try and be quick with this, because there's probably players in there that you can't even remember if fucking play for us this season, in all honesty. But hey, we'll see what we can get done. So just a simple one to, out of between 1 and 10 for them. So Alisson.
I think a 7. Give Alisson a 7. Injured a lot of the season, but we even seen at Brentford, he's a class of his own level. So we need to keep him at all costs.
Yeah,
by the way,
which it looks like we are.
We
thankfully.
need to keep him at all costs. He's still one of the best goalies in the world, and none of our other goalies are a patch on him.
Yeah.
So keep him. He got a 7, but he could be better.
Yeah, I think 7 is the highest you could go for him, really. I don't think he's been at the standard he's been at from previous years. Injuries will do that to you, especially when you're out as often as he is. And hopefully that does improve. Whether we need to sort of adjust as how he trains himself every week to ease up on the injuries. But yeah, like you say, the Brentford game, that save he made just proved exactly why we need to keep him, because nobody else in the team is making that save. So yeah, 7, I don't think you could go any higher than that. Mamardashvili.
5. Bit of a scapegoat, getting a bit of unnecessary over the top shit. I think his distribution's poor because he's getting compared to Alisson. He's not Alisson. His shot stopping's decent, but there's been a few he's flopped at that have gone in. Can do a lot better. We've seen better from him when he's played for his national team. It's the reason why we bought him. So he's got talent. It's not ready to throw the towel in on him yet, but he's not Alisson. So
Yeah.
if you're replacing Alisson with him as your number 1, you're setting yourself up for a fall, because he's not good enough yet. But
Yeah.
if give him another season with Alisson being number 1 and learning from him and getting better distribution and being more confident with the ball, then I think he'll be alright. So he's getting a 5.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. I think he hasn't been as bad as he's been made out to be. I think his distribution at times can be alright. I think part of the problem has been that the players forget that he's left-footed and only left-footed. And they pass it to his right foot all the time, so that doesn't help him.
And while I'm bouncing,
Yeah,
they dink it to him.
yeah, I know. Some of the
He's got to
decisions.
control it with his right foot to his left foot, and he can't control it with his right foot.
But no, I do think he's been made a bit of a scapegoat. I do agree that he certainly could have been better in certain games, but then I think there's been other games where we've sort of only still been in it because of him. Yeah. I think the Villa game was one. I think, obviously we conceded 4, but I think we probably, if it wasn't for him, we would have conceded 8.
Yeah.
So it's one of them. He's not at the level yet, I agree. But yeah, I think there's definitely a player in there. You don't become sort of like a sort of hero in Georgian football for nothing. Like, you've got to be doing something special, and he's helped get them to like a high level for Georgian football kind of thing, along with obviously Kvicha from PSG. But yeah, I think 5's fair. Freddie Woodman.
10. My hero. Do you know what? He's one of the positives of the season. Watching him get to live that dream and getting to play for Liverpool in a derby and make the saves he's made, I think, and fucking, yeah, I'm made up for him. I think he what's he play, like 3 games? Never thought he'd play in a derby, never thought he'd play for Liverpool properly, and I think when he played, he done himself proud and he done his family proud. So to be put in as like a bit of a, if everything goes wrong and you have to play, you're playing, and he's come in and he's done brilliant. There's been what was it, Man United?
United.
Yeah, he was
Man United. That's it.
But he dinked one of the Everton players, lads, so I'm not asked. He gets it. No, he probably gets a. I don't know what I'll say, 7 for his performances. I think that when he played, we looked a bit more assured with him in than we did Mamardashvili. I'll say that. I think we and the players looked a bit more comfortable passing it back to him, and as a unit we looked a bit stronger with him in the goal. So I felt a little bit sorry for him, because I'm dead sentimental that, when Mamardashvili was back, I still think we should have stuck with him for a bit, but he had that game against Man United in the mix, so, you know.
Well, that's it. Like, I think he probably would have been higher, but then for as good as he was against like Everton, he didn't have much to do in fairness, but against Palace, and then the as good as he was against Palace, to have the game against United straight away just kind of showed why he's third choice. But yeah, look, he, like you say, he wasn't expected to have any real part in the first team. I think he played the League Cup game where we went out because Alisson was injured at the time, so at that point he was second choice kind of thing. He didn't really cover himself in glory there. But yeah, look, for the third choice keeper, you can't really ask much more of him. I think he's exceeded expectations in that sense. So yeah, I think a 7's more than fair. Joe Gomez.
5. He's done, hasn't really played, hasn't been involved. When he has played, I think he's chased his tail a little bit. But he's one of them players that I think he needs to be playing a lot to improve. And when he plays a lot, he's fucking solid. But he can only last 4 or 5 weeks before he's injured again. Yeah. And it's a massive shame because I think he's one of the most versatile players we've ever had. If we lose him this season, you've got to go and buy a backup fucking right back and centre half. So yeah, I think he's massive for us. I think if he's happy to stay like third, fourth choice centre half or whatever, third choice right back, then you've got to keep him because he's been around. He's probably one of the leads in his dressing room, but this season he hasn't done that. Really.
No. Yeah, I can't really add anything to that. That's exactly the story with Gomez, and has been for a few years, unfortunately. As you say, if he is happy to sort of stick around being probably at this point second choice right back and sort of third, fourth choice centre half, then you've got to do it. Because to his credit, he can play right across the back line. I think he could probably do a job at left back if you'd asked him to. So yeah, happy with that. Van Dijk.
6. I'll give him a 6. I don't think there's been times where he's been terrible, but there's been times where he has been a Van Dijk. So that's the problem, is the lack of consistency. He scored a few important goals. He made a few important tackles. I'm just sick of watching him pull away from shots and let shots go. He doesn't engage anymore as much. So I don't think we're ever going to see the best of Van Dijk again. I think he's obviously pushing 35, but I think if he'd have played 25 games instead of fucking 40 odd, fucking more in it. 44, 50. Yeah, if he'd have played 30 odd games throughout the season and got him the rest he needed, I think you get a lot more out of him. But I feel sorry for him. He's had to play with a new partner at left back when he's used to Robbo at times. He was a bit of a headless chicken, but has improved throughout the season, and he's got a babysit Konate. So I feel sorry for him in that sense.
I was going to say 5, and then I thought probably a little bit too harsh. I would probably agree with the 6. He hasn't been nearly the level that he's been at for us before, but as you say, I think that's not all on him because of what he's got to do throughout the game. But as you say, the fact that he has had to play every single minute of every single game this season is poor management, essentially, because Slot's come out and said that he likes having a small squad, and that's what happened. You've got to play your near 35-year-old centre half every single game, the oldest player to ever do it, outfield player to ever do it. So I think 6 is fair. Stats wise, he's still up there. Visually, when what you're watching yourself with your eyes, you can tell he's not being the same player this season. So go with that. This one should be fun, Konate.
I don't want to be too harsh on him because he's shite. I'll say 4. I'm not going to go below a 4, I don't think, but I think 4. I think he's been, at times, he's done alright, and he's made the odd fucking tackle, and he's had the odd boo when he puts it out for a throw in at the extra box.
At least that's going.
I know, can't wait for that to be gone as well. As I say, really like the lad. I fucking wish he was better at footy, really do, because I think he just looks a battle of laughs, and we need more than that. But in terms of performance, as I said before, lack of consistency, the ability to just switch off in the blink of an eye, not knowing where he should be positionally, not being in line with Van Dijk when he's calling the orders, keeping players on side where they're attacking and scoring. drifting out to the right. And again, I feel sorry for Canate a little bit because he's had to play with loads of different right backs. But it is what it is. He's played with a number of right backs who barely go forward and have supported him, and he's still drifted out to the right and been shambles. So he loses quite a bit in the air, or when he wins it in the air, he puts it back into a dangerous spot. Doesn't contribute with goals enough for his stature and his size. He looks absolutely colossal. He's a man mountain. He's got that presence where you just want him to be a brilliant centre half, and he's just not. So for all of that, and for the nervousness he causes me when he's on the ball or running back to make a tackle, I just don't think he's good enough. So for me, 4. And you know, I think there was one moment where his dad had passed, and we don't know what happened with that. So you could put, maybe his dad was ill for 6 months, and you can put a lot of it down to switching off and that, but that's been going on for 3-4 years. So you can't really. But the fact that he wants to just dig in and come back and play, and then he played well for a few games after that, credit to him. I think that's a bit of mentality that we've lacked this season. But then he switched off again. So if he'd have kept to them standards for the rest of the season, you go, well done, lad. But he never. He switched off again, and then I don't know. I think he's been blinded by all the media news. You know, I think you've seen Ekatike messaged them saying just sign. I think he's letting money and things get in the way, but in terms of performance, he's a 4.
Yeah. I'd probably maybe just go 5 myself, because I do think when he is on form, I think he has saved us quite a bit. I don't think he's been on form anywhere near enough, don't get me wrong, of course. He's sort of developed a little bit of a Matip to him this season as well, with the picking the ball up and bringing it out, which has been a bit of a mad one for him to start doing.
Do you know what he does though? He runs it into an area where you think, go on lad, play forward, and then he turns back. He's just done a 40-yard run. That's
the team now, innit, at the minute. So,
like, oh, come on.
But no, I agree with pretty much everything you just said about him, to be fair. Yeah, I think...
Like we said, one of the highlights of the season for me, and I can't recall who it was against, but once he come back into the team after his dad and the fans were with him, and he scored.
Newcastle.
Was it Newcastle? And he scored, and that little moment between the fans and the players, and we connected again, and the players pushed him towards the crowd. I thought it was brilliant. It was one of the best moments of the season for us. And I think it was a lovely moment for him to get, but as I say, just wish he was better at footy.
Yeah, no, me too, definitely. Who's next? Kerkez.
6. I think he's been hot and cold. I think he's come into the team a little bit like Robbo. He's come from you could say a less quality team, but he's come in from a decent team, to be fair, who played good football, attacking football, and he's come in to play with Gakpo, who won't pass it up the wing, he wants to turn in. So he's been frustrated by that. Again, he's come into a team that don't really play how Bournemouth play. We don't attack, the overlap's pointless, so his game's gone a little bit. But defensively, a bit of a headless chicken, but he's dead determined and eager to win the ball back, and if it means fouling, he fouls. If it means hurting someone, he hurts someone. If it means getting hurt, you know, I was on the side straight away from the Preston game where he headed the ball just on the floor before Nate took a boot in the face, and you're like, that's the type of lads we want playing for Liverpool. And I think it's players like that going forward that'll set the standards, like Robbo did when he came in. So I think he's had a 6th this season. I think Robbo should have been ahead of him all season until it was not working. I don't think there was a reason to just put Kerkez in because he didn't leapfrog Robbo in terms of ability or what he offered the team. He should have been in gradually, and I think that's one of Slot's mistakes this season, is putting him just straight in and zoning Robbo out. But yeah, I think he's one of the players that I look forward to seeing next season, because I do think he's got a little bit of what we want in Liverpool.
Yeah. I think I'd probably go a little higher. I'd probably go 7 for him, because I think he did have a difficult start in the beginning. I think we didn't really play to his strengths, as you said. I think we did then try and adapt it a bit when we sort of brought him back into the fold. And I think for the most part, for the sort of second half of the season, he's been one of the few you can say hasn't really let us down. I think I like that he's got that bit of Nat Phillips about him, where he will just head anything at all. Like if the ball is about to hit the post, he'll hit the post to move it so that the ball doesn't go in. He's one of them type of players. So you can't knock his desire, you can't knock his effort. I think he's one of them players who die for the shirt, you know what I mean? And we haven't got enough of that in the team. I do think Robbo, certain games need Robbo rather than Kerkez, I think, yeah.
But he's got that in him to be like
yeah, he has 100%.
I'm not saying he's going to be like Robbo, is he going to get the number of assists or whatever, but in terms of like personality and desire, I think he's got that. Like you could practically go, Kerkez is Scottish, and you wouldn't go, oh, he's not, would you?
No.
He's got that little bit of bite in him that we need, and he's got the little bit of shithousey that Robbo's got, where he'll bring you down if he has to. He'll push your head if you're messy or you're not. You know what I mean? He'll fuck about you. He'll mind game with you. He'll hurt you. He'll go in and he'll win the ball at all costs, and he'll get hurt. So I look forward to seeing him in a Liverpool shirt, because he gives us a little sense of what we'd be like if we were playing.
Yeah.
And I like that about him.
Yeah, let's we'll try and pick this up a bit, because we're going into detail with all of them here, so let's try and pick it up a bit. Conor Bradley.
None. North. Absent.
Yeah.
Absence, yeah. Pointless. I just hope he gets over his injury and we can get him back next season, and he can have an injury-free season. Then we've got it right back. But I don't think he's got it in him.
Yeah, there's that, and to be honest, this season when he did play, for me, he wasn't really filling me with a lot of confidence. I don't think he was really performing that well when he was playing, in all honesty. So I think 3 is probably as high as you can go for him, in all honesty. Who's next? Leone. You can't judge.
Looked absolutely
brilliant.
Beast mode against Southampton in the cup, which is no bar to be set really. So we can't really. He looked boss in training in terms of physicality. I haven't seen him playing footy. He's been branded the next Maldini. So I like him.
Yeah, I like the look of him. Say the Southampton game, he was probably our best player, and then he obviously got the unfortunate injury. But it'd be unfair to judge him, so we'll move on from him. I just copied and pasted the list of players who played. So Robbo,
7. Typical Robbo season. Made a few mistakes. Every time he makes a mistake, he does us all to get back and fix it. Sometimes he couldn't fix it. He's been caught on the back post too many times, I think, this season, where he slowed down a bit. But in terms of attitude, determination, leadership and presence, I think is 7. And when he's come on or he started, he's made us look a bit better going forward.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. I think he's popped up with some important goals this season, which hasn't really been like him in the past. He hasn't really let you down, but I think, like you say, when he does, he's still one of the players in the team who you know is going to try absolutely everything to make up for it, and you can never knock him for that. So, and it's obviously, it's just sad to see him go in it as well. But yeah, 7, I'd agree with that. Frimpong is he's not a difficult one. I was going to say he's a difficult one, that'd be a lie. He hasn't been good. I think probably 5, and I'm probably being generous.
Yeah, I'm going to go 4. I think he's been on as bad as Kanate. I think he's been horrendous defensively. And watching him with his blistering pace beat a man and then not be able to pass a ball is soul destroying. But the only thing I'll say about him is, I think if we put him on the shoulder of the last man and we get the ball in behind, he done it early on in the season and he was dangerous. I said to you at one point, imagine him on the right, Engamora on the left, and he's second, or Ekatike up front, where Rio and Frimpong aren't even having to look, they're just whacking the ball into areas in the box. The problem for him, where it's looked worse, is we've had no strikers in the box when he's put the ball there, so it looks like he can't beat the defender, but he's beating a man physically, and then he's passing the ball in, and there's nothing but opposition change.
Yeah.
So, but in terms of this season, he's been a 4. He probably hasn't deserved to go away with his national team, and hopefully he can enjoy the rest, get his fucking hamstrings cemented, and go again next season, because he can be an exciting attacking player, but we still need a right back.
Yeah. I think the only reason I'm giving him a 5 is because going forward we have seen the odd glimpse here and there of what he can do. He's created, a few goals. He's made opposition players, forced them into own goals. He's beat players when he had no right to beat them in terms of strength and things like that. So we've definitely seen glimpses here and there of what he can do going forward. I think there's been the odd occasion as well where he's actually done all right defensively, but it hasn't been anywhere near enough in both directions. So Yeah, I'd say 5, but I'm being a little generous with that. I'm probably just going to skip these next 3. I'll say 3, because the next 3 are Calvin Ramsey, Amara Nallo, and Welity Lucky, which I think between them probably paid like the equivalent of 90 minutes.
Is Lucky the one who gets sent off all the time?
No, that's Nallo. He played twice this season and only got sent off once, I think.
He's crap.
Ramsey looked good against Palace.
Looked alright, yeah.
That's all you can say.
Never, but there was people absolutely kicking off that he weren't getting a start because he's an actual right back, which I agree with a bit, but obviously we're not seeing him in staining, so
yeah,
he probably won't be here next season.
No, probably not. But yeah, I say no point really judging them. I was maybe going to skip over this one, but then I thought no, because he's a legend. Endo
hasn't played half as much as he should have done when we started leaking goals and struggling in midfield for energy and for physicality. He was the first name on the team sheet for me. I said it early doors that the change we need to make is bring Endo in. When he's played, wins the ball, another one who's fight for the shirt, another one who'd get hurt or hurt someone. His concentration on just defending is next to none. He's a leader. He's strong, he's determined, he's passionate. 7, and then he gets injured and he tries to play on. Goes up to an 8.
That just epitomised him, didn't it?
Yeah, it does. And again, that should have been the rally call to the other players to go, fucking this lad who hardly plays is doing this. He's getting up for the shirt. Can't join him. Can't be there with him. But wasn't to be. But no, realistically, probably a 7. I love when he's playing. I think we miss that type of player, and we've struggled for a 6 all season. We've got a 6 sat there on the bench, and he hasn't played enough and he's got injured. But
yeah. This one is probably a difficult one to judge, but Vert.
6. We can all see with our own eyes what he offers if he gets the ball. The problem is he's having to come into our half to retrieve the ball to then try and set someone up who's not there. We've got our strikers playing all over the place. We're not playing to suit anyone. We need a player to give the ball to Vert so we can make things happen, but it has to be in their half. We've got our midfield passing it backwards and sideways when Vert is calling for the ball, so he's going to collect it. To me, he looks too good for us, and that might come across mad because of his misplaced passes and his missed timing. And he looks a bit stronger now, he looks a bit quicker, he looks a bit fitter. He's putting balls into areas where natural goal scorers and natural strikers should just be. And he's putting areas into wingers where they should just be, and they're all on different wavelengths. So I'll put him in the category of like a Thiago, where he's too clever for some of these players, and until they're on the same wavelength, he's going to look dog shit to the neutral eye, and to some people who don't understand footy. But when you've seen players like him before, he's just a bit too clever. His footy IQ, he sees the pass before the pass is on, and we need all our players to get on the same wavelength. He's going to be brilliant if we play to his strengths.
Yeah.
If not, he's a passenger, he's a waste of time, but that's not his fault.
Yeah, I agree. We've, like you said, you watch him with your eyes and you can see that he's absolutely just, he's thinking 2-3 steps ahead of everyone else, and not on his wavelength at this point, and that's why he is misplacing so many passes, and you know that's why he hasn't got as many assists as he should have done, or as many goals as he maybe should have done. But you can tell there's an absolute world class player in there.
Yeah.
And he, obviously I think he's been unfortunate with injuries here and there as well, which hasn't helped. But yeah, I think a 6 is fair. Szoboszlai.
8. I'll give him an 8. I think attitude wise he pisses me off, but on the pitch, determination, the way he sprints around after the whole back four, and feel sorry for him at times that he's the only one doing it, but he's been a killer where we could break and counter attack, and he tells us to slow down and calm down. You're like, it's 0-0, mate. Fucking, you should be willing them to get forward. Free kicks, exceptional. Some of the passes he plays, exceptional. The way he works hard. He's a bit of a fucking fanny in terms of tackling. He won't engage in a real big tackle. He loses quite a few 50-50s. But again, what is he, 23, 24?
Something like that, yeah.
Loads of room to grow into that physicality that we need and that we like to see. But he's been our best player this season, but he's prancing out the pitch like a superstar in a season where we've had no superstars. And I think he needs to get that out of his game. and he needs to understand what Liverpool fans expect from a Liverpool player. But if he does, he'll be world class. But I'll say it now, I think he'll be somewhere else in a year, because
Yeah, I do.
the same thing is going to happen with the contract.
Yeah. No, I think Nate is fair. I think, yeah, he's been comfortably our best player this season. Pulled us out the shit a couple of times. Has been the only one who looked capable of sort of grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck and making something happen. Not to the, obviously there's been that talk again this season about comparing him to Gerrard and stuff like that, and he hasn't done it anywhere near to the level, to the extent, to the consistency as Gerrard, but he's the only one who's had that sort of instigated about it this
I think
season.
he's let it get to his head, all the Gerrard stuff, and don't get me wrong, we've all said it. We said it early doors, and then he fell off a cliff for 2 seasons, or a season or 2, and then he's been back this season. He's come back with a swagger and an arrogance that I'm the main man here, I'm the centre midfielder, I'm the, not like a fucking American quarterback, innit? That's what he's like. He's like the fucking handsome bastard with all the sponsorship deals and the Lamborghini and the boss watch and the leather jacket. They're like, we don't want to see none of that, lad. We want to see you going into 50-50s and winning the ball. Show us your Lamborghini, by all means, when you've scored your hat-trick, and we just twatted Man United to something. Not when we've just been beat 3-0.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So attitude-wise, I think he just needs to learn. But again, I think a lot of it is like sort of pre-ads, isn't it? It's prepaid ads that are going out on a set date, and we can't really do nothing about it. It's just poor timing. But I just hope we keep him, and I hope we give him the freedom to excel and get better. He just needs to add that bit of physicality into his game.
Yeah. Next one on the list, McAllister.
4. Yeah, I think he's been, again, I've pinpointed Canate as bad. I think Frimpong's been bad. I think McAllister's been equally as bad. But I've seen a stat the other day that he's played 150 games in 3 seasons. So obviously 50 games a season consistently. He's hardly been out the team. I think he does a lot more getting about the pitch than the others. So I was quite happy to see McAllister be one of the ones that we sold for a few quid this summer. But with given the right number 6 and having him and Szoboszlai or him and Gravenberch playing in midfield, I think he could improve a lot. And I think he's had the Fabinho effect this season. His legs have fell off. He's run himself into the ground. I think his passing's been shite. His tracking's been shite. His tackling's been shite. The antics of him going down and holding his face and holding his leg and crying and all that shit. Shite. Attitude. Shite. You want your South Americans to be little nasty bastards who are going to get involved, and he hasn't done it this season. He hasn't been involved in as many goals or assists. He hasn't put us on the front foot. I think he's been absolutely horrendous. But that's not me counting him out. That's me. He's got a bit of grace. He's played a lot of football over a short period of time, and he's been the midfielder that's probably been running to the ground. Gravenberch, we'll go on to him in a minute, but I think he's been as bad as it got this season, one of the worst, but I do think he can improve for a decent pre-season.
Yeah, I personally think 4 is a bit generous. I'm going 3. I genuinely think he's been our worst player this season, based on what he's been. Out of the 3 midfielders we signed to start when Hendo and all that left, he's the one who's been consistently fantastic for us in the first 2 seasons that we had, and his decline has been just drastic. I think this season, I think almost sort of Fabinho level drop. I think the difference is his age. Like you say, he's played fucking shit ton of games in the last 3 seasons, which is obviously going to play a part. I just think we know he can. I do believe he'll get back to that level, and I do think next season, if he has a proper pre-season behind him, gets the sort of buzzer, doing well in the World Cup again for Argentina potentially, and I think we'll see a new lease of life for him. But I do genuinely believe this season he's probably been our worst player personally.
Possibly, lad, yeah. But I think, as you say, well, as we both said there, Fabinho-esque fall off where his legs have just completely gone. He's done that much running for other players that can't physically go. He made the comment himself. He made it clear, didn't he, that I've played 150 games in 3 seasons, sort of thing. You're like, yeah, you have fair play. So for that alone, I think bear with.
Yeah.
See what happens. But
I think
you need a naughty number 6 coming in, and you shouldn't be having. I know all your midfielders have to contribute to every role in midfield, but we haven't got allocated roles for them. They all just pot around him. They're all expected. We need an enforcer in the middle that's going to win the ball back and give it to McAllister and also Bosley or Gravenberch, because none of them are that player. He's a number 10, and we've got him fucking playing at the edge of our box time, getting running around in singles, and then covering left back and covering right back, and you know when Szoboszlai's pressing there forwards, he's pressing the midfield. So it is an hard role. He's probably got one of the hardest roles in the team, but he's fucking killed it this season. He's been shite.
No, he has. I think the thing for me as well is what's really pissed me off with him this season is the throwing himself to the floor every single game from nothing. Like the one, I can't remember what game it was, towards the end of the season. It might have been Villa where he's gone down holding his face.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
Pisses me off. It's embarrassing. And I think that's probably playing a part into why I've given him that as well. But yeah, this one, again, will probably cause some conversations online because I'm looking at you, Kev. Curtis Jones.
Curtis Jones, 5. I don't think he's done anything. He's one of them players who he's just there, isn't he? He's a bit of a passenger. And if you give him the ball, these fucking mad turns he does on the edge of our box and on the halfway line when there's no one around him, like just fucking pass the ball onto someone, lad. Ideally not sideways or backwards.
Yeah.
Don't be walking around the pitch with a swagger like you're Gerrard and you've got that ability because you haven't been showing it. Don't be telling the media that we should be fucking getting stuck in and giving everything when you're not doing it yourself. So that's burnt me head out, watching a player swagger around like that. But he hasn't made that. He hasn't made the grade again where Curtis Jones, the scouts in the team, should be knocking on the door to be starting every week. He's still not at the level to be starting every week for Liverpool. And I think we get blindsided by the fact that he's a scouser. And I know he gets a bit of shit from the people who aren't from Liverpool, and Dave sort of said because he's from Liverpool he gets playing time, and that it can't be the case. You don't play for Liverpool because you're from Liverpool. I think, but from our point of view, I think we want to keep him because he's a scouser more. If he was from London and into Milan come calling with a few quid, you'd say you can have him.
Yeah.
Again, we can't see potential anymore because he's 25, 26. He's not a young player. He hasn't excelled as we'd want. He hasn't pushed himself into the team. He hasn't knocked on the door. Doesn't grab a game by the scruff of the neck. Doesn't get us on the front foot. And I don't know whether he said himself last season that he preferred the system to what Klopp was given, but I think he was better under Klopp.
Yeah.
Was more direct, was more dynamite, was more dangerous. He reminds me of when Henderson first come in and it was just give the ball to Gerrard and that's all he wants to do and that's all he does.
Yeah.
He keeps the ball for too long until he loses it, or he puts it out for a throw in a dangerous position in which we concede, or he passes it back to the goalie who's marked in which we concede. But his stats are bosh because he passes 2 yards and he passes backwards and passes it, you know, to the nearest player. So your stats are going to be boss, aren't they?
I think I'm going to give him a 5.5. I'm going to cheat a little bit. Just because...
No 0.5, lad. No 0.5.
No, there is. It's my game. Leave me alone. No, simply because I think he's done better than expected when he's been asked to play at right back. I think he's done an alright job at right back when in a season where we've fucking absolutely struggled to death with right backs. I don't think he's done anything wrong when he's played at right back. He's still got them issues that he has in midfield when he has a right back, but I think playing at right back suits him a bit more because he does get a little bit more time because, you know, not every team presses from the front like every team does. So yeah, the 0.5 is just purely for his alright performances at right back.
Yeah, I'll agree with that, to be fair. I think as right back he's been alright. He's looked half decent. He's got a lot more time, as you say, and I just wish he had the brain to like Vert a little bit. If he had the brain, like sort of like Trent, to play the ball, he knows where he's putting the ball before he's got it. He hasn't. He's got to dissect everything. It's like he's got to play it in. He's got to play the situation out before he plays the situation. Like just fucking eat the moment, get the ball, ping it to someone, lad, get us on the front foot, get us forward, and he doesn't. He's got to stop and stutter, stop and start. Like he buffers a little bit, doesn't he?
He'd be absolutely fucking brilliant in Italy, to be fair, like, because he won't get that time.
And that's the thing, and I think he said, like, he'll have like a Cole Palmer effect wherever he goes, where they'll make him a key player in that team, not just a bit part player. He'll have that confidence and the arrogance and the swagger and it might come out in a positive way in a different team where they fully believe that he can. But we don't play to suit his strengths.
No.
But I just at this moment in time, I don't think he's good enough to play for Liverpool. Squad player maybe, but he's not. We need to be improving. We need to be pushing forward and getting better, and it might be without him.
Yeah, fair enough. Gravenberch.
Again, probably a 5. I think he's being poor. I think he's being found out as a defensive player. I think he doesn't really suit that role. There's times where he strides through the midfield and he just looks completely different player. He looks dangerous, and you wish he was a bit higher up the pitch doing that a bit more often. But I've watched players ghost past him this season time and time again, run past him, ball in behind, and he doesn't track. He just jogs and passes the man on. Defensively poor, really. Going forward, again, centre midfielder, doesn't contribute to many goals or assists. Doesn't shoot half as much as he should. When he does, he hits corner flags or into the crowd. I don't think he's had a good season. I don't think he's merited the big contract that he got. And hopefully, again, he's another player. If you get a defensive mid who can come in and make that their role, he can progress and get better. But we need that number 6 in for him to be able to do it.
Yeah, I think he's offered a little bit more going forward this season. Obviously, chipped in with a few goals here and there. He's great on the turn. He's great at carrying the ball forward and things like that. But I think, especially when you compare him to last season, he just hasn't hit them heights again, unfortunately. I mean, very few players have, if any of them. But yeah, I think 5 is probably just about fair. Right, next one, Trainioni. Hard to judge.
It's not. He hasn't played enough, lad, to judge him.
No, fair enough. Isak.
5. Hasn't played half as much as we would have liked when he's played. Can't sit here and say he's been a flop like some are, because he hasn't had any feed when he's got it. He's probably touching the ball 3 or 4 times a game, and we expect him to score. We don't play a system that enables strikers to score goals, unfortunately. We're all, I don't know what our system is, but it's, if you've got a striker who's come from a team whose winger's job is to feed you and you score loads of goals, then play like that. But we don't. So I feel a bit sorry for him. I think it's been a season to write off for himself personally, but I think, if we start playing to a way that suits his strengths, if you've got Frimpong and Engamoa just putting the ball across the box and he's fit, I think you're getting 10 more goals out of him at least just from that. So we need to play to suit him, and he'll get better.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Like you say, season to write off hasn't worked for him in any sense of the word. Don't play to his strengths, as we say, at all. He's constantly having to come deep to try and get involved in the game, and even then he's still not managing to get involved. It's just been an awful season for him, start to finish, for him, having no pre-season to work with, getting the injury after he scored against Tottenham. It's everything that could have gone wrong for him has gone wrong this season, so it's hard to judge him in that sense. Mo Salah.
6. Fell off a cliff to his standards, but still being better than some of the so-called world-class wingers in the league. Probably being our most effective player. Had the most contributions in goals and assists, I think. I think you've seen him, even when he's been poor and his first touch has been shite, he's chased every first touch. He's worked hard. He's been asked to defend a right back position as a right forward at 34 years of age. We've used him wrong. I think he misses Trent. I think that ball in behind, which he lived off at Liverpool, has gone. I think giving him the ball in dangerous positions at the edge of the box and having enough players pressing their box where he can only ask to beat a man or two has gone. So I feel a bit sorry for him. I think he goes on elsewhere and you see a bit more of the old Salah, but evidently age has caught up with him a little bit and he's slowed down a bit. But I think a lot of the problems with Salah this season was the system. People will go on about his little rants and stuff, and some people dislike him a bit now and some people love him more for sort of saying it how it is, but on the pitch hasn't been the Salah we know for a number of reasons, but he still hasn't it. He's contributed, worked hard, and that's all you can ask. When things aren't going well, as long as you're working hard and you're trying your best, we can't knock it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Like you say, hasn't been the season that he would have wanted from his own personal standards. Hasn't hit the heights that he's hit ever for Liverpool. You know, even in some of his worst seasons for us, it hasn't been as bad as this one in terms of the numbers. He never shies away. He's always putting the effort in. He's always trying to help the team, no matter what. He's always trying to put the team first. And again, you can't knock him for that. As you say, numbers wise, he's still been better than most wingers in the league, which just shows you how much we've been spoiled by him over the years. But yeah, I think you can't really go any higher than a 6 with him. Chiesa,
No, 5. He's one of the most frustrating players I've ever seen in my life. He gets brought on with 10 minutes to go, which isn't enough for when you want to change the game, really. If you're not going to rely on him from the start, I don't know why you keep bringing him on when it's not working, because you obviously don't trust him. But in, complete desperate situations, we brought him in. I think he had a decent little start of the season where fans were kicking off that he wasn't playing as much as we would have liked, but then we see him play and we see him doing the same thing and losing the ball and fouling. Oh my God, them fouls with 4 minutes to go in a game, you're chasing or you fucking need to score, and he gives it all the mamma mia, why? You're like, what are you on about? You've just fucking 2-footed them. Just take it, let them play on, and let us fucking get back up the pitch, you mad bastard. It frustrates me, but again, we've been blindsided by personality and a boss song, and we want him to do really well because he seems a nice lad, but he's not Liverpool level.
no.
I think if he'd gone in the summer, missed the song, but we need better players to push forward and to go and win titles and consistently win titles. And yeah, I think he's not being trusted by the manager at all, has he? So there's a reason for it.
Yeah, no, I can't argue with anything there. I just think seems like a great lad to have around. The fans love him, the players, obviously love him as well. But he's just not Liverpool level. We've said it a number of times this season. He's just not at the standard we need, unfortunately. Hasn't ever really been trusted by Slot ever since he's been at the club. He's never had any kind of run in the team other than coming off the bench. So yeah, I think he's done what he can. But like you say, them fouls are the most frustrating thing ever.
It's the shock on us. It's genuine shock as well, It's mad. It's not even like he's acting.
I know. But it's not even, to be honest, the thing is with most of them, like, they're not fouls, but you know what a defender's going to do. They're going to shield the ball, feel a touch and go down, and the referee is going to give a foul no matter what. So, like, it's the shock. I get that you're thinking, like, what are you on about? It's not a foul, but, like, it is because that's what they all do.
Rules, yeah.
So, it's stupid, but yeah. 5 is probably maybe a bit generous in all honesty again. Gakpo.
They just settled with him for me because I couldn't bear him. I can't bear watching the lad. He bores me stiff. He is like watching the same video over and over again. He does the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
But he done well last season. He was massive for us winning the league last season. He got a number of massive contributions and his goals went up and stuff. This season, a bit like Salah, we haven't played a system that suits him where he gets the ball in an area where he can cut in and shoot as much. He's been isolated. He hasn't touched the ball half as much as he should have done. So 5. I'll give him a 5 because I think a lot of the problems with his game has been down to the system as well. But watching him cut in and shoot it at defenders' legs over and over again when there's no space instead of passing it, watching him look at Kerkaz on the left, overlap into space, and I'm still cutting and not passing, burns me head out. In front of goal with his head, piss poor. The amount that he took over Nunes for offside, he just stands offside.
Yeah.
If he scores and it's tight, he's been offside.
Yeah,
so he's cost us a number of goals by poor position. So yeah, a 5. I don't think he's been as bad as some of the others, but he's been poor.
Yeah,
and I think he's another one that the standard have dropped in terms of well, the standards are now set because you've got players like Kanate asking for 300 grand a week, because players like Gakpo and Gravenberch are getting that type of money, and all three of them, none of them merit it.
Yeah.
You know, your superstars get them contracts, and they're cogs in a machine, but they're not superstars, and I think you've got to accept that.
Yeah, I think the disappointing thing with Gakpo is everybody expected him to push on after last season, because like you say, he was very good last season. I think he was our second top scorer last season after Salah. Had a lot of goal contributions, was popping up in big moments when we needed them and things like that, and you just thought, right, yeah, we've finally seen the best of him, now we can push on, and he's gone backwards. So I think that's why he's been getting probably more stick than some of the others who maybe have played worse throughout the course of the season.
Because he doesn't sign nothing new, lad. Like,
no.
You can see that cut in on the right foot. Not like it's become like a meme. You know he's going to do it. The defenders know he's going to do it. Do something different. Change it up. Like to go on your right foot and go onto your left and beat the defender and then go into the box. But
or use the overlap.
He's just he won't use it, lad. He will not use it, and it's just repetitive.
It is.
And yeah, it's frustrating. I'd like to see what happens with him in the summer, but he's another player. I think I could say, out of our first 11, I think there's only like 3 or 4 I'd be asked if they weren't there next season.
Yeah. Sad to say, innit, really. Ekitike.
Say, I don't know, between 6.5. Started on fire, getting, you know, compared to Torres, the way he moves, the way he shifts the ball past defenders, the elegance of his goals, the elegance of his runs, the style of play, everything just looked gorgeous. It just looked brilliant. He looked a superstar. He looked exceptional, and he looked like he was going to have defenders on toast. And then something shifted. I don't know what it was. Something just stopped clicking. He wasn't getting his goals. He wasn't making the runs. His body language. I think it's just that type of player. That the tall, gangly players, when they're not on it, they just look arrogant. I used to say it about Thierry Henry, but I've compared him to Thierry Henry in terms of football ability and, you know, the way he is, the way he looks, the way he plays. It's just his style, as the way he conducts himself on the pitch and the way he moves and that. He reminds me like a Henry or Torres, just class. But it hasn't lasted long, and then he's got the injury, and I don't know whether we'll fucking see him again.
No.
It's a horrific injury to get. His fucking attitude on the pitch and some of the stupid stuff he's done. He's still young, but he needs to wind that out of his game if he's going to come back and succeed at Liverpool. I think he's still just a bit childish, and I think he's living the dream. He's playing for Liverpool, who were Premier League champions. He's come into that, and he's thinking, fuck, again, won the lottery, playing for this team. It's going to be brilliant. I'm going to enjoy it. He started off class, absolutely class, but fizzled away a little bit and then got the injury. So I just hope he comes back.
Yeah, me too.
A little bit of what he was like when he was good.
Yeah, I think, like you say, he started off the season incredibly, looked like a world beater, and then he's had really inconsistent spells throughout the season as well before he got his injury. I think there was times when he didn't really look involved in the games, and if he wasn't scoring, he wasn't doing anything really.
Yeah,
so I do think there's definite improvement from him. Hopefully we do get him back and he can hit even close to the level that he was at before his injury, because you can see there's a brilliant player in there. He just needs to work on that consistency and you know, making himself important when he's not as involved in the game, kind of thing as well. Yeah. Hopefully he does come back though, like I say, because he's a good player. Last one then, there is one after it, but again he's not really worth rating in Kieran Morrison because we've hardly seen him. But Rio,
bit of light in the fucking dark tunnel this season. One of the only players you don't think is on strings and being puppeted, but again, I'm not blaming the manager for that, it's just the way we play. Looks like he can do things with spontaneity, and he just reacts in the moments of he might weigh a player up and then beat him. No one else seems to do it. I'd give him a 7. I don't think he hasn't lit the world on fire. I think he's only scored 1 or 2 goals, hasn't he?
Yeah, a couple of goals.
He scored a couple of goals, got a couple of assists, but he's the most exciting player. He's the only one who gets you out your seat when you're playing. The only one who looks a little bit free, like he's willing to take risks and lose the ball. Needs to improve. I don't think he has to do 19 step overs every time he's got the ball. I don't think he has to, lose his man and not sack. But he's 17 years old. We've relied on him a little bit this season to change games. In times he has. We've looked better with him on the pitch. We've looked more an attacking threat. Sometimes he's been our only attacking threat in games. When he's not there, we don't attack. But lots to improve on. But really exciting future for him. Don't think he's quite ready to be the left winger for Liverpool. I think we need to go into the market and get. It's hard, isn't it? Because you go out and you buy a 17 or 80 million pound left winger. Does Engamoa get that time? But with the squad we've got, you don't want to be playing a 17-year-old kid every minute of every game, and you don't want to be playing a superstar every minute of every game because of injuries and out the size of our squad. So if he's getting 20, 30 minutes a week, and then he's playing League Cup and FA Cup and the odd Champions League game, and then he's getting 90 minutes a week, he's going to get better. He's going to be playing more football than he's played this season. So I think we need a top class ready-made left winger, and then him. But he is going to be one of our best players.
Yeah, I'd agree.
If we can fucking agree a contract with him.
Yeah, no, I think I'd agree. Like you say, he's not the finished article by a long stretch, but he has been the shining light, certainly second half of the season. He's been the one that we've looked to try and make a difference, which is, it's annoying that we've had to rely on a 17-year-old to come in and try and make a difference, but yeah, defenders look scared of him when he's got the ball. They don't want to go near him, they don't want to engage with him, and that's what you want from a winger. It's what we haven't really ever, we don't really, certainly the last sort of decade or so, we haven't really signed that type of winger. It's more been your explosive, sort of powerful wingers in that sense. So he's different than what we used to, but yeah, he's been great.
It's just boss watching a player, but I another player up and think I'm going to beat you here.
Yeah.
And when I say about the step over, like, obviously it doesn't hinder him because he moves as fast doing it as he does without it.
Yeah.
Like, he's fucking lightning, and he's so skillful, and his little dainty touches that he does around defenders and stuff, I think he's brilliant. I can't wait to see more of him next season.
No, me neither. So yeah, player rating's done. Look, gonna finish with a few questions. We've got loads, so I'm not going to be able to get through them all, especially because I've got 12% battery left, so wanted to try and get a few out before.
And I'm going for a pint.
Yeah, and he's off out, so do want to try and get a couple out before that though, so I'll pick and choose a few ones. So this one's from YouTube. Never had a question off YouTube before, and I thought it was I thought it was from your little Jedi at first because of the type of question it is. I'll be honest, but I don't think it is. So it's would you rather walk in on El Hadji Diouf in bed with your half fella, or Slot get a 5-year contract extension?
I don't think El Hadji Diouf's my dad's type, to be fair. It's funny to put on Twitter though, wouldn't it? Listen, I've said about Slot, if it's a boxing fight, he's absolutely twatted his opponent for 4 rounds. He's won a league, and then he's been twatted for 4 rounds, and he's got 4 rounds left. So if that 4 rounds ends in 2 because he's doing shit in November, December, you get rid of him. But if he's absolutely punching his head in for the final 4 rounds, you forget the 4 he lost, and you go on and you go, right, you've retained your championship, you're back at the top, well done. You've had a fucking terrible matchup, you've had a terrible season, we go again. So I'm not going into the next season willing him to fail, so we get rid of him. So yeah, rather than me being a bit the other way and like an El Hadji Diouf enough to get in bed with him, I think I'd rather have Arnie Slot get a contract.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with that, to be honest.
Like, Dad, if you're watching, sorry for the image of you in bed with El Hadji Diouf. I hope you've got your bills on.
Yeah, interesting one to get, like, but you've kind of already answered half of this question, so this is from me mate Kev. So I'll ask the first part of it, because as I say, you've kind of covered it, because you said at what stage should he be judged next season, December, Feb, and I think you've kind of already said that with December. So Slot staying, what's the minimum level of success for next season to keep his job?
You have to be in the title race till the end. You have to be within, going into May, we need to be in the title race. We need to be winning a trophy. Or, you you know, if you get to a final and you lose the final because the other team's better than you, I don't think you judge the manager on losing that final. If we have a good time and we enjoy going to Anfield and we enjoy going to away games and we enjoy watching Liverpool play again, then he's straight back up in the estimation for me because he's won a league title. But we've got to be in the conversations. We've got to be pushing forward, becoming a force in Europe again. We don't want to be going against PSG and going, these are going to slap us everywhere. We want to be going in going, we could fucking get something here. We could beat these. And we never this season. I don't think we did the season before either.
No.
Because we just weren't playing that style of football. If we're playing the Liverpool way, we're playing attacking football and we're winning football matches, then, you know, I'm happy. I'm instantly happier. But I want trophies and I want success and I want to be in title races. Klopp won one title in the time he was there, won one European Cup. So our bar is not set to be like Man City where you're expecting to win the league every year because you've won it once in a period of time. But we've got to be in the conversation. You know, if we're in it and we're getting beat by a point and we've enjoyed the season, it's been a roller coaster, and at the end of it you're like, fuck, I need a holiday, that's been exhilarating, then boss, I'll accept that. But, you know, the be all and end all for Liverpool Football Club is you're in the race.
Yeah.
You've got a chance of winning trophies, and it's always nicer when you win them. But, you know, for now, after this season, we've just got to go and win a pot and be in the conversation for the league title and go further in the Champions League.
Yeah, I think that is it. We've got to be in there or thereabout come May. I think a cup run would do wonders for us for momentum throughout the rest of the season, whether it's League Cup or FA Cup. It'd be nice to you know, go toe to toe with the best in Europe again, like we know we can. Like, you know, the way we kind of rolled over a little bit for PSG this season was the most disappointing aspect of losing to them. I just think if we can show that we have got that sort of fight and that we believe in ourselves again, then that's part of the battle, I think, as well. So yeah,
he's got to set it from the top. Now I know the standards have slipped a little bit, but the manager's got to say, like, there's no more of this fucking about now. You've had a year, you've had a full year, a full season that we've written off for you to get your heads back together. And I understand it's hard, but this is my system now. This is what we're going to do. And if you can't do it, let me know so I can move you on.
Yeah.
And I think that's the time. The manager's got to be the manager now. He's got to be a manager, not a head coach. He's got to go and tell the players how it is, how it's going to be, and start winning football matches and getting the players to suit the system. Because I also think he hasn't signed a lot of them players. I think they've been handed to him, and I don't think his system suits them. But from what I've seen at Feyenoord, he plays one-touch attacking PSG style football.
Yeah.
And we just need to get the players to match him.
Yeah, I'd agree. We'll get one in from you little Jedi, because, you know, they always make us fucking chuckle. So Slot has walked in on Van Dijk in bed with his missus. Van Dijk's laughing about it, but what he doesn't know is that Agent Arne is bankrolled and protected by the Man United Mafia, hence the performances this season. He needs us to form a Scouse Mafia. Don't have to be Scousers, by the way. So he wants you to pick 3 ex-Reds to back Van Dijk up in a fight, but you can only choose ones who could pass as actual, like, Mafia fellas.
Blows my mind.
I know, yeah.
Souness.
Yeah, I think he's the obvious one straight away.
Souness, Carragher, and Tommy Smith.
I'd go Souness, Ron Yates, and yeah, you know what, Tommy Smith's a good shout, actually. Yeah, Tommy Smith.
It's Tommy Smith or Jimmy Case for me because they're just fucking hard as nails.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I had to throw one from in there because they're always just a bit mad, aren't they? Try and get a couple more in.
So
before.
basically, that was named 3 hard Liverpool players.
Basically, yeah. So yeah, try and get a couple more in before the fucking battery goes. So what have we?
Your last one.
Yeah, I'll do one. So views on head coach versus manager. Does it work for us? And also, like, the role of the suits at the club, should they be held to a greater standard of accountability for choices and the balance of the team than it would appear they are? So, for example, should they be at, like, press conferences with Slot?
First and foremost, I think we need a manager, not a head coach. I think the manager needs to be the manager, not in the sense of he signs every player, but he takes full responsibility for what's going on the pitch and he gives a short list of players that he physically wants to fit his system, and they go out and maybe you give them 3 left wingers, out 3 you want, they pick one, they analyse it and do the data, and then they pick the one you get, sort of thing. That's fine, but they've got to be a player you want that suits your system. I think we need the manager. He needs to be totally in charge of the training, totally in charge of the fucking diet, totally in charge of the team meetings, totally in charge of the players he gets, and you know how much money he would be willing to spend on those players, etc. But I think when I'd like some transparency from the hierarchy, where Edwards and Hughes come out and go, listen, we bought Isak, we bought Wirtz, we bought him and him. We give them to the manager because we thought they'd work. You know, we've allowed, you know, we've given players days off and we've done this and I think it'd be nice. Not all the time. Wouldn't want to. I think they should address the end of the season. They should be addressing the fans and saying, this is where we're at with the manager. This is what we believe he's done wrong, what he's done right. This is where we're at in the transfer. This is what our aim is to do. And we fully believe, or we don't believe, that we're going in the right direction, so we're going to do something about it. So yeah, I'd like to hear. I would have liked to have heard something off from Slaughter the last game of the season, but he's not the type of person to pick up a mic and address 60,000 people. He might boo because it's the wrong thing to do. But I would have liked to. I would have liked a little pick me up, like, listen, we are fully aware that the football hasn't matched Liverpool, and we're fully aware that we've had injuries, and we're fully aware that there's been a tragedy, and we're fully aware you haven't liked what you've seen in our league positions, not good enough, and our attitude on the pitch isn't good enough. We can see it too. And once you hear that from your manager, and he's on the same wavelength as you, you automatically pick up a little bit. When the manager's blind to things, then you start worrying about what the manager can see, different to us, because we can all see it. So I would have liked someone to come out and address the situations this season, and come out and say, we are guilty of fucking this season up a bit more than we expected, and we are absolutely 1,000,000% confident that this summer we're going to improve and we're going to get better because we're going to change our football and we're going to win.
Yeah.
And then straight away, you can't wait for the new season. But it shouldn't be us saying what the manager should be saying. It should be someone at the club saying, get out there and do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to see a bit more of that, and I want to see the hierarchy take a bit of the blame for the season.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a collective, you know, it's collective in how we failed this season. I think it's on Slot, it's on Edwards, it's on Hughes equally. I think they're the 3 culprits for this season mainly. I do believe a manager over a head coach is just better. I think it just instills a bit more confidence in everybody. Like, I'm the main man, what I say goes kind of thing, rather than, so I'm just taking care of this, we've got someone taking care of that over there, fucking Barbara's doing that over there, you know what I mean? It's like one man is in charge of everything. So yeah,
that's how it's been.
Do I believe that
that's how it should be?
Yeah. Do I believe that the hierarchy should be at the press conferences with Slot? No, I don't see how that benefits. I'd like to see them coming out a bit more often with, you know, statements about what's going on, or videos about what's going on, and just a bit, like you say, a bit more transparency about it all. But overall, I think that I'd draw the line there. I don't think it needs to go further than that. So yeah, look, gonna have to wrap it up there because this has got 2% battery left, so we're not going to get much more out. Thank you everyone for sending in questions. Sorry we haven't been able to get to them all. We will save them for whenever the next pod is. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed this. As I say, we're going to try and do a few more in person next season. Try and keep them a bit more structured if we can as well, because you know what we're like. But yeah, look, thank you very much everybody. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on TikTok if you're on there, get on Twitter, everything. We're on everywhere now, so you'll hopefully be seeing a lot more of us. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching and listening, and see you next time. Up the fucking Reds.
Up the fucking Reds.